didn't realize it's after 4 o'clock. I was talking to Professor Grinnells about monetary policy, and I got carried away. But anyway, my name is John Popp, and I'm chairman of the what we call the Coalition for a Better Fort Wayne. And we've assembled a group of business leaders and ministers and other concerned citizens to, because of our concern about the destructive effects that we would be facing if a casino were to be approved for Fort Wayne. We're organized to try to preserve the community that we have. We love this community. It's a great community. It's a family community, and we'd like to preserve those features. And so the issue at hand at the moment is the casino, and we think our job is to educate our community on what some of the impacts are, and unfortunately the impact on our community is primarily of a destructive nature. So to introduce, we have several prominent people that have come here to help in this education process, and to introduce them I'd like to bring forth Reverend Enstrom, who will introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, John. Before I introduce our speakers, just a bit of background as to what events brought us to today in preparation for tomorrow's lecture by Professor Grinnells. And in recent weeks, with the focus on the new ballpark and the excitement around the new ballpark, we haven't heard as much about the casino. And I can't tell you how many people have said, well, our understanding is it is a dead issue for this year. A reminder that the Indiana General Assembly does not close this session until Wednesday of next week, on April the 29th. And there are some major issues still unresolved before the Indiana General Assembly that will require revenue in their resolution. And there is a history of things happening at the last minute, in the last hours of the General Assembly that are unanticipated. And so in being vigilant on the issue of our opposition to seeing an expansion of gambling in Northeast Indiana, particularly with the casino in Fort Wayne. Also, that's our opposition. Our proactive reason for being here is to see the progress that's been made in recent years in the revitalization of downtown Fort Wayne as a family-friendly center with many venues that actually invite people to the heart of the city, that we not jeopardize that but continue to build on that. It was a year ago in February, as the Mayor Thomas Henry came to office, that several clergy met with him to welcome him into office. And as a member of the downtown clergy from First Wayne Street on East Wayne Street, we welcomed him, told him we'd like to partner with the city in building a stronger Fort Wayne. And so we had that conversation a year ago, but there was a second reason and why we met with him. Tom Gray was in town, and Tom is the executive director, has been the field representative for the National Coalition Against Legalized Gambling, which is now Stop Predatory Gambling. And the reason that Tom was in the state was that at the time, Steuben County had requested a casino, or they wanted a site for gambling in Steuben County, and the state said that that was not economically viable, and so they said no to it. And our concern was there was suddenly discussion a year ago in February about locating a casino in Fort Wayne, because it is a a major population center, being the second largest city in the state. And so we wanted to also say to the mayor, as we welcomed him to office, that we did not want to see that discussion develop. In November, when the Ohio referendum on an expansion of gambling was voted down, was it for the fourth time? Tom will tell you. Suddenly, within weeks, there was discussion about from the mayor's office that the city was going to at least study if it would be economically viable for Fort Wayne to have a casino. And it was announced that there, shortly after the first year, that there would be an economic impact study done by Third House out of Indianapolis, and then a social impact study that would be done by John Stafford at Purdue University here in the city. So we were concerned at that point that things were moving too quickly toward moving the casino issue forward. We invited Tom to come and to help us mobilize United Methodist pastors, actually, back in the first week of February. And very quickly, once we found that he could come, that expanded to be not just a denominational event, but there were many religious and business leaders that came and heard Tom and were mobilized. And the group that John Popp has led and has pulled together has made real inroads in informing the public of this issue. We, from the beginning, have wanted to see this discussion take place as an informed public dialogue. That if we're going to consider a casino for Fort Wayne, that we need to talk about it, and we need informed dialogue. Tom will help us with that process today in preparation for tomorrow's lecture. And Tom will speak for himself. Before you're through, though, Tom, let's be sure that Professor Reynolds has a minute here today. Let me tell you why we brought Professor Reynolds to Fort Wayne. Earl Reynolds is a distinguished economist that has been doing the important work of studying the social impact of casinos on communities for, I believe, a good 15, 16 years, perhaps. He was instrumental in, he's testified on numerous occasions before Congress, and was one of the first academics to call for a national impact study by our government, which then did take place. His book, Gambling in America, Cost and Benefits, was published in 2004, and it is a tremendous insight into what the true costs are. That the social cost of having a casino in a community are far greater than any economic benefit that might be derived. And so tomorrow at his lecture, tomorrow morning, in this location at 10 o'clock, he will be speaking to those specifics. But Tom, with that, I've said enough, too much, no doubt. But let me call on Tom Gray, who's become a good friend, and ask him to come and